You leave every day. You pick up your keys, you close the door, and your cat is on the other side of it. And most owners, if they are honest, have never really stopped to think about what happens next. The assumption is comfortable. Your cat finds a sunny spot. They sleep. They eat if food is available. They wait in the particular self-contained way of an animal that does not need company to feel complete. You come home, and they are there, sometimes at the door, sometimes not, and life continues. The time you were away feels, from the outside, like nothing, like a gap in the day that your cat filled with sleep and indifference. But researchers decided to actually find out, not to assume, to measure, to put cameras in homes and track heart rate data and measure cortisol and record behavior across hours of ordinary absence. And what they found inside those quiet homes, while their owners were away, is something that changes the comfortable assumption entirely. Your cat was not indifferent. They were not fine in the simple, uncomplicated way the assumption requires. And what they were actually doing while you were gone is one of the most important things you will ever understand about the animal you live with. Let us talk about what is really happening. 1. Their stress hormones rise within minutes of you leaving. This is the finding that surprises most people first, because it requires accepting something that contradicts the image of the cat as the perfectly self-sufficient animal, the one who needs no one and is not affected by absence the way a dog is. Research measuring cortisol levels in domestic cats across different social conditions found that cats left alone showed elevated stress hormones that appeared within minutes of their bonded person's departure. Not hours later. Minutes. The body registered the absence before the cat had finished processing that the door had closed. The elevation was not dramatic. These were not cats in crisis. In most cases, an observer watching the cat in real time would have seen an animal that appeared calm, settled, unmoved. The cortisol rise was happening beneath the surface, in the body chemistry that a cat's behavior does not always translate into visible distress signals. This is one of the most important things to understand about cats. They are extraordinarily good at appearing fine. The survival instinct that makes them hide illness and injury also mutes their external distress signals in ways that can make genuine internal states completely invisible to an untrained eye. The cat sitting calmly near the door is not necessarily a cat who feels calm. They are a cat whose body is carrying an elevated stress load while their posture tells a different story. 2. They go looking for you. Cameras placed in homes during owner absence have documented a behavior that most people never imagined their independent, self-sufficient cats would display. In the period following the owner's departure, many bonded cats engage in a search pattern through the home, moving from room to room, pausing in places the owner frequently occupies, investigating the spaces that carry the highest concentration of the owner's scent. This is not aimless wandering. It has a directional quality that researchers have noted specifically. The cat is not exploring randomly. They are searching for something. And what they are searching for is the one presence whose absence their nervous system has registered and flagged as significant. Research into cat scent behavior during owner absence has found that cats spend measurably more time near objects carrying the owner's scent, their worn clothing, their usual seating area, their pillow, than near equivalent objects without the scent. The scent is, in this context, the closest available approximation of the actual presence. The cat is doing with olfaction what they cannot do with vision or hearing. They are finding you in the only form still available. And if this is shifting the way you picture your home when you leave it every morning, go ahead and subscribe. Every video on this channel exists to show you what is actually happening with the animal you live with, not the assumption, the reality. 3. They orient toward the door. One of the most consistent behaviors documented in cats during owner absence is a spatial orientation toward the primary entry point, the front door, the main entrance through which the owner left and through which they will eventually return. Cameras have recorded cats spending extended periods positioned near or facing the door, not pacing, not vocalizing, simply oriented, present at the point that connects the inside world to the outside one, the point where the absence began and where the return will eventually happen. This behavior has a parallel in attachment research that is difficult to ignore. Human infants and toddlers separated from their primary caregiver show a similar spatial orientation toward the last point of contact, the door through which the caregiver left, the location that represents the boundary between presence and absence. In developmental psychology, this is understood as proximity seeking directed at the absent attachment figure. The being cannot be reached, but the space associated with them can be occupied. And occupying it is the nervous system's best available approximation of the connection it is missing. Your cat sitting near the front door while you are gone is not waiting in the passive sense. They are maintaining proximity to the closest available representation of you. 4. They monitor your scent as it fades. Here is something that most people never consider. When you are in your home, your scent is continuously renewed. Every surface you touch, every space you occupy, every breath you exhale contributes to the scent environment that your cat moves through as part of their daily experience. Your presence is, in olfactory terms, pervasive and constant. When you leave, that renewal stops. And over the hours of your absence, the scent fades. Slowly, at a rate determined by ventilation and temperature and surface type, but fading. The invisible record of your presence becoming less vivid hour by hour. Research into cat olfactory behavior has found that cats respond differently to fresh versus faded owner scent. Fresh scent, the kind concentrated in recently used objects, produces higher engagement, more investigation, more of the resting behavior associated with comfort and security. Faded scent produces less. The cat's world is, in a measurable olfactory sense, becoming less inhabited by you as the hours pass. This is why many bonded cats show heightened activity or mild restlessness in the late afternoon or early evening hours of long absences. The scent environment that has been providing a low-level sense of connection has diminished, and the nervous system, which has been quietly tracking this, responds to the change. 5. They know you are coming back before you arrive. This is the finding that most consistently surprises people, and the one that requires accepting just how precisely your cat has been studying you. Research into cat predictive behavior around owner return has found that many bonded cats begin to orient toward the entry point and show anticipatory behavior, increased alertness, positioning near the door several minutes before their owner's actual arrival. Not at the sound of the key in the lock, not at the sound of footsteps on the stairs, before any audible signal has reached them. The proposed mechanisms are several. Cats have a highly developed sense of circadian timing and can learn to anticipate routine events with considerable accuracy. An owner who consistently returns within a similar time window each day is providing a predictable temporal pattern that a cat's nervous system can track and anticipate. But beyond routine, researchers have noted that owner return sometimes precedes any audible cue by enough margin to suggest that additional sensory channels may be involved. Changes in outdoor sound patterns, subtle vibrations transmitted through building structure, shifts in air movement that precede someone approaching a building. Your cat does not wait passively for the sound of your key. They have been building a predictive model of your return across months and years of observation. And the anticipatory positioning near the door is that model being acted on. They know you are coming. They have been waiting not for the event, but for the prediction they already made to be confirmed. 6. They reset the moment you walk in. Here is what all of this means in the context of the moment you actually come home. The greeting your cat gives you when you return is not a casual hello. It is a physiological event. Research has documented that the cortisol levels elevated by your absence begin to drop measurably within minutes of your return. Heart rate, which in some cats rises slightly during the anticipatory period before return, begins to slow. The low-level alert state that has characterized the nervous system during your absence begins to resolve back toward baseline. The speed of that resolution, how quickly your cat's body returns to its normal resting state, is directly proportional to the security of the bond between you. A cat with a deep, settled attachment bond to their person resolves almost immediately. The nervous system receives the returning presence and completes the transition from absent state to present state with a fluency that belongs to a relationship where the return has happened hundreds of times before and has never been anything other than safe. When your cat meets you at the door, or appears from wherever they have been and settles near you with the particular unhurried ease of a body returning to its baseline, that is not casual. That is the end of a physiological sequence that began the moment you left. The cortisol rising and now falling. The search behavior and the door orientation and the fading scent and the anticipatory alertness, all of it resolving into the single, simple, biological fact of your return. 7. What this means about your absence. If your cat experiences your absence in this way, and the research suggests they do, then the time you are away is not the neutral gap in the day you may have imagined. It is a period your cat moves through. A period with its own behavioral shape, its own physiological arc, its own relationship to the presence that is missing and will eventually return. This does not mean you should not leave. It means that understanding what happens when you do gives you something important. It gives you a reason to make your returns count. To understand that the greeting your cat offers you when you come home, however it looks, is the end of something they have been navigating without you. And your presence, when you restore it, is doing something specific and measurable to their body. It also gives you something to consider about the quality of what you leave behind. Your scent on accessible objects. A piece of worn clothing in a place your cat frequents. A routine that gives the hour's structure even in your absence. These are not small things to a nervous system that spends your absence tracking the fading record of you. Your cat was not fine while you were gone. They were doing what bonded cats do while their person is absent. They were finding you in the only ways available to them. And when you walked back through the door, the finding was over. And for a moment, in the particular resolution of a returning presence, everything their body had been carrying since you left became quiet. If you watched this and thought about this morning, about the door you closed and the cat on the other side of it, that moment has a different weight now. Not guilt. Understanding. The kind that changes how you come home. Every video on this channel begins the same way, with a question most cat owners have never stopped to ask. And then we go looking for the real answer. Not the simplified version, not the comfortable assumption, the actual science, the studies, the behavioral research that takes years to surface and rarely reaches people in a way that feels like a real conversation. That is what we do here every single time. If this video gave you something, hit like, drop a comment, and tell us what your cat does when you come home. And subscribe, because what we are covering next will change the way you see your cat all over again. The more you understand them, the closer you get to something most people spend a lifetime living beside and never fully seeing. And that is always worth staying for.